traditional for a groom to come up and give a speech at his own wedding, but as my family is well aware of, when I get an opportunity to get a microphone in my hand, I rarely pass it up. And I knew a few months ago when I decided that I'd stand up tonight, I knew that I'd be number 6 in line, and it's never easy for the speaker and even less desired by the audience. That being said, I wouldn't come up here unless I truly felt like I had something very important to say. When we were planning for the wedding this past year, and by we I mean Madeline, we started discussing a lot of the details about tonight, and the rehearsal, the reception, the ceremony, and a topic that came up were the vows. And Madeline, knowing that I went to school to be a writer, naturally asked me if we wanted to write our own vows. And I said, that's a great idea, in theory. In reality, I'm going to have a lot to say on January 20th, and I don't think that I could appropriately tell my thoughts in the form of a classic vow. That and the fact that if I did that out there, I would turn it more into a soliloquy at the church where I hijack Dr. Pace's microphone, stiff arm him off the altar, and proceed to conduct the rest of the ceremony with or without the proper theological credentials. And my side's laughing because they know how scarily true that possibility is. No, but the real reason why I wanted to do classic vows is because there's a specific line in the traditional vows that is extra. I'll lose it. I'm just letting you know right now. That's extra important to me, and it's a line that I heard a lot as a kid, and it's a line that up until 2 years ago I didn't give much thought to, and the line is "in sickness and in health." As some of you know, in the spring of 2016, I suffered a severe brain injury. It was a martial arts concussion that I had during a sparring session in jiu-jitsu. And I didn't know at the time what that kick to the back of my head would have, what kind of effect on my life that kick would have. And after the event, I was, for about 2 weeks, I was almost in a vegetative state. I was on the brink of going on short-term or indefinite medical leave at work, and quite frankly forecasting how that would affect the rest of my life. And I'm not gonna lie, the next 8 to 12 months were pretty rough. They were rough on me, they were rough on Madeline, and every day or month or week, sometimes I'd take a step forward, and then the next day or week I'd take 10 steps back. And I think after probably the second CAT scan, the third MRI, the 5th doctor telling me that they didn't know if I'd ever be healthy again or to what extent. Probably 11 months in, without feeling much better, I sat Madeline down and I said, you deserve 100% of somebody. And you have your whole life ahead of you. And I love you so much, you deserve to be happy, and I don't want you to have to take care of me or worry about me. And we had a long talk, and she sat quietly and she listened about just kind of how I felt and why I felt like I was kind of laying us down. And she waited till I was finished, and she grabbed my hand. And she said, "Jeff, you're my person. And I'd take 1% of you over 100% of anybody else. I love you more than words can say, and I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you." And she said, you're going to get better, and if you don't, then you'll quit your job, I'll get a second one, and we'll take every day at a time. 3 Emmers are laughing. She was serious. And sorry, I lost my place. If you give me just one moment. From that moment on, I knew that she was the one, beyond the shadow of a doubt. And from that moment on, I did everything I could to get better. And from that moment on, my health started to turn for the better. And my favorite part about this story is that we didn't do it alone. I had a support network that I refer to as my female family coalition. And that consisted of, during my recovery, of Madeline scheduling appointments, making food for me, and just kind of generally helping take care of me. I had Lisa, who can accomplish more on her iPhone than any millennial I've ever met. Researching concussions, medications, alternative healings. I had my mom, Denise, who works at a hospital in Michigan, sending over doctor referrals, physical therapy referrals, neurological recommendations, and even driving from Detroit to Chicago on a weekend that I wasn't feeling great and Madeline was out of town for business. And at the head of it all, I had Grandma Patsy prepared to financially back the entire operation. Luckily, it was not necessary, but I remember probably after my favorite part of this story is after probably my second visit to the radiologist in 1 week, I got a call from Grandma Patsy, and I remember her saying that she hadn't seen an MRI machine being sold on QVC yet, but if she saw one, she was going to pull the trigger on it, whether it was on sale or not. And if you don't believe that's the truth, you haven't met Patsy Van Stone, and you need to. I even had Mr. Gearing calling me once a week during my recovery, checking in on me, sharing stories about his own martial arts concussion 20-some years ago, and making sure that if I ever need anything, he was there for me. What I'm trying to say is that to Jeff and Lisa, they say when you marry a woman, you marry her family, and I couldn't be happier to have done so tonight. To my friends, thank you. To my friends, thanks for hanging in there with me. Thank you for always making the trip to Chicago when I couldn't make the trip to see you. Thank you, Keenan and Matt, for coming in from Colorado, and Kevin from always coming down from Wisconsin, and Ryan and Mike for always coming in from Michigan. I really appreciate it. And to my parents and the rest of my family, I know tonight made it official, but thank you for always treating Madeline like a Gunderson from the very start. Thank you for treating her like a Liddell. Thank you for treating her like a Fairchild, like an Erickson, like an Alden. And to Madeline, you're my person. And I take 1% of you over 100% of anyone else on earth. I love you more than words can say, and I can't do it. I'll spend the rest of my life with you. Now, for those of you who don't know, today's Madeline's birthday. Changing gears. And she made one request when she picked this wedding date about a year ago. I think she picked the wedding date long before we got engaged. That's a whole other issue. She said, Jeff, I want people to sing happy birthday on my birthday. And I want you to lead it. So, if you guys would join me now, unlike Madeline, we are similar in a lot of ways. Singing is not one of them. I am the worst singer north of the equator, and I'd like you to take my word for that. So when I say please join me, I really do mean it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Madeline. Happy birthday.